Hi there, good afternoon. Very warm welcome to each one of you for one more webinar from Telluric India. So this is some of the initiative that we have, like, almost every Thursday of a month, close to 2 times or 3 times in a month. We conduct these webinars, sometimes very generic, sometimes very specific to Telluric technologies, but the idea is to just give you a dose of technology, let you know what cool things we build, let you know what latest and greatest in the industry. So that's the bare criteria for us doing these webinars. Just give you the technology dose, and you spending 1 hour with us should be very informative to you and then should be helpful to you in your day-to-day work. Keeping in mind, so today's webinar, we're going to be talking about something known as Kendo UI Core. I'm not sure how many of you have heard about Kendo UI. If you have heard of Kendo UI, I'm not sure if you have heard of Kendo UI Core. So if you see here, I have a byline which says build free. In fact, that's what this is all about. Kendo UI Core, we're going to look at what is Kendo UI Core and then why you should be, kind of paying attention to Kendo UI Core and then how you can build free, right? So if you have been attending my these webinars, you would know who is the speaker here. So that's the picture behind the mic today. My name is Lohit. I work as a developer evangelist with Telluric in India. I'm also a Microsoft MVP in the area of ASP.NET IIS. I'm part of India's one of the most vibrant .NET community. It's known as Bangalore .NET User Group. I'm one of the leads for that. I'm also an author. Wrote my first book last year. I'm available on Twitter. If you want to catch hold of me, you can pretty much tweet to me, or this is my short URL. This is my official my own blog site. kashapas.com is my blog site. I'm going to give you my official email ID. I think it's in the last slide, so we'll get there. But this is my social coordinates. I'll give you my official email ID in a second when we get to the last slide. So let's talk about what is Kendo UI. If somebody asks you what is Kendo UI, so our way of telling people is, hey, this is everything you need to build sites and mobile apps with HTML and JavaScript. That's as simple as it can get when it comes to what is Kendo UI. So this is the current situation in many of your projects. I'm not against open source, but let me tell you the problem when it comes to an enterprise project, right? Somebody says you need to use a MVVM framework. Okay, you went ahead and then put, let's say, Backbone. Somebody says, hey, we need to use a templating technology within the JavaScript. Okay, you went and put a mustache maybe. I'm not sure what that launcher is all about. You wanted to use a UI widget, so you go and put the jQuery UI. Oh, jQuery UI does not have grid, so you'll go and then put JQ grid. Well, that is fine. I need a charting now, so you'll go and then put high charts. Well, that is fine, but I need to write my own plugin architecture. Okay, you will go and then put all the jQuery plugin infrastructure, and then you will write your own plugins, or you will go and then include the other plugins. Oh, that is fine, but I need some of the utilities within the JavaScript, like, link kind of utilities. Okay, you'll go and then put underscore JS. And then what you do is you need a mobile widget, so you'll go and then put a jQuery mobile. But the second column, what it's showing in the second column is, each of these whatever frameworks that you use, whatever libraries that you use, these are very specific. These are very specific to what functionality they provide. And notice the numbers on the right hand side. These are their version numbers, right? Backbone.js is at maybe 5.3. I just put a fictitious number. It's not like these are the latest numbers they are on, the latest version they are on. But just to give you a perspective that, hey, every individual framework has its own version number, and then it has been targeted towards a very specific jQuery version, right? And if jQuery version moves ahead, you got to make sure that whoever wrote these libraries, they have to make sure they provide you the support for the latest and greatest jQuery version. And this is open source, mind you. And then if you have used it and it breaks because you put a jQuery's latest version, now who's going to help you to fix that, right? The guy who wrote the library is going to say, this is open source. You're free to go download the source code and then do whatever you want, right? That's the problem we are in. But if you take Kendo UI, currently we are at a version number of 2014.2. That's not the case. I'll tell you what we do in a moment. With Kendo UI, we already have around 500,000 plus downloads. Kendo, since the release of Kendo UI a year and a half or 2 years ago, we have already seen 500,000 downloads by people who are using this. And one of the biggest factor for us that this is indeed a enterprise ready, or this is indeed a pretty good library, is the fact that Google has a operating system, or Google has a laptop, or sorry, the netbook known as Chrome OS. Or, they have the Chromebook. So Chromebook uses Chrome OS, and then it's the cloud OS, and the no, the Chromebook comes with a default camera app, or normally you have every every laptop has a webcam, and then you need some sort of a default application which can work with your camera, take your photo, make some changes, anything. So what you're seeing on there is actually a application which has been written using Kendo UI's HTML5 capability, and it is bundled and packaged with Chrome OS today. Even if you go and then today and buy a Chromebook and open the default camera app, that's Kendo UI running there. So we don't have to say anything else, in terms of how good we are, or it's basically what I'm trying to say is we have all the capabilities, we have all the functionalities, features that you need to build any mobile or any website, the sites or apps or anything that you want to do. And we work pretty much with any of the libraries that you want. In fact, many of these features are available out of the box within Kendo UI, but we do understand that there are hardcore fans of pretty many of these libraries. For example, Breeze, Angular, Backbone, Knockout. So we work very well with these guys. What you can do is you can use Kendo UI as a front end, and then you can use Angular or Backbone or the Knockout as your all the JavaScripting things. So we work very well with this. Then what we did was, we always had this product line called as Kendo UI, and Kendo UI was a licensed product. But we do have the GPL v3 version of Kendo UI. So you had professional version, or it was known as Kendo UI Complete, and you had GPL v3 version of Kendo UI. But Kendo UI was a product line, and what we did on April 16, 2014 was we open sourced couple of Kendo UI things. So basically, the Kendo UI is three things: Kendo UI Web, Kendo UI Database, and then Kendo UI Mobile. So Kendo UI Web, as the name says, is for web applications. Like we have web widgets or web controls. Kendo UI Mobile is all mobile. It's for developing hybrid mobile applications using HTML5 and JavaScript. So those are mobile widgets. Database is all about data visualization. So, but what we did was we took out 24 widgets from web and the complete of mobile widgets, and we open sourced it, and then we call it Kendo UI Core. So that's what this is all about. Kendo UI Core is 24 plus widgets from the web, and the complete of Kendo UI Mobile being open source. This is not GPL v3. This is completely open source. The GPL v2 or some of the licensing that we have, and you're free to use for your commercial as well as personal. You can do anything with that. So I'll show you what are the things available in Kendo UI Core, but I just want to make sure that you understand that this is a Kendo UI Core. This is an open source. You can pretty much get the source code. You can contribute to Kendo UI Core by doing a pull request in the GitHub repo. We are available on GitHub repo. I'll show you everything. So you may ask why? So we are with Apache licensing now with Kendo UI Core, whereas earlier we were in GPL v3. So GPL v3 was very restrictive, meaning you couldn't use our Kendo UI GPL v3 license and then build a commercial product out of it, and because v3 restricts you from doing that. And you could use that only with open source projects, although we would allow people to start using it, but v3 restricted them in terms of, hey, I'm not open source, so I cannot use this. So that was one of the major things we really. And then with the GPL v3, what happened was you could get only the major releases only. Whenever we did Q1, Q2, Q3, that's the time, that's the only time where even the GPL v3 got updated. No basically no internal builds or continuous builds or whatever we do, the nightly builds, you couldn't get any of those. And then of course no commercial support, so meaning no support. With Apache licensing, what we did was it's permissive, meaning now with Kendo UI Core being Apache license, you can pretty much use it for anything. You are an enterprise, you want to build some enterprise product. Oh well, by all means, you can use Kendo UI Core, which is free. Yeah, but it is backed by Telerik. It is Telerik engineers work on Kendo UI Core because our Kendo UI Professional, which is a licensed version, relies on the core. We have the core, and then on top of that, we have all the professional widgets. So it's commercial and open source both, and then you are capable of getting into, looking at our continuous builds and then get whatever gets checked in. You can make use of that. So there's a problem or a bug in the Kendo UI Core, our engineering team would have fixed it and then put it into the continuous build. So you can pretty much, consume it the next day. Contributions are encouraged. So since this is now an Apache licensing, we are on GitHub, and then the whole repo is available for you to take a look at it. You are now encouraged to contribute back to this particular repo, and then we will look at the pull request, and then we'll make sure that if everything is fine, and then we'll put it inside the product. So pretty much this is what we had earlier: web, database, mobile. Everybody had their widgets, everybody had their frameworks, all those things. We used to call it as professional. So now we call it as Kendo UI Professional. So so the thing is, database and then some advanced widgets of web are not available in the core. So I'll show you what are the products, what are the widgets available in core. If you are looking for data grid, if you're looking for scheduler, if you're looking for data visualization, of course you would have to upgrade yourself and then get our professional licensing. It's a paid license, so you would have to get that. But what do you get as core? 24 widgets from web, framework, mobile widgets, mobile features. So this is what you get with the core. Of course, the professional contains charts and graphs, data viz widgets, commercial UI widgets, and all those things. So professional also uses the core. So we are continuously developing for the core. If there is some problem with the core, logics, we will fix it. Our team will go and then check in. So it's not as if like, although it's open source, it's somebody's weekend project. No, this is Telerik's product. We are committed to make sure everything is good with core, and our engineers are day in and day out checking in, contributing to the core, the GitHub. So pretty much this is how the core is all about. And now if you take it, and this is what the excuse me. So the Kendo UI GPL was the earlier version, so that's no more available, and this is just a kind of a comparison between the core what we have now and then the GPL version that we had earlier. Open source apps permitted, well, both of them are supported now. Commercial apps are permitted, so only core allows it. GPL v3 is no more there. You can access to Kendo UI Mobile, you are access to source repository, you can access the daily builds. Commercial grade widgets are available only in the core, in the professional version. So that's just a little brief comparison. I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see this, but I had to fit it in a screen, so I had to squeeze it. But this is what you get when you download Kendo UI Core. I'm more interested. I'm a web developer from last 12 years, and then I'm more excited with the framework level support that we have in Kendo UI Core. Data source, fantastic Kendo UI data source. It's a JavaScript data source wherein you just set a URL, and then it's going to do all the heavy lifting of invoking the service, get the data, get it as an array, bind it to the control. It does everything. Of course, the globalization, the MVVM, single page app, templates, validator, you name it, everything is available as part of the core. You don't need another library. For example, we looked at Backbone. You don't need Backbone if you're using core, because we have the MVVM out of the box in Kendo UI. You don't need templating, because templating is available out of the box. You don't need a separate validator. It's available in the box. And then biggest thing, the data source. Now coming to the controls or web widgets, as we call it in terms of web application, typical things like autocomplete, button, calendar, color picker, combo box, you name it, everything is there. Of course, you won't see the grid, you won't see the scheduler, you won't see the editor, all those things, because it involves a very too much of engineering time. We have put all our that's our bread and butter. So that's been moved to the commercial version. But this, by and large, is sufficient for you if you're building any sites or apps. We have pretty much a drop-down list, datetime picker, list view is another interesting thing. Menu, the multi-select, notification, numeric text box, panel, progress bar, slider. We have this thing called a sortable. If you have a list and you want to provide user to sort it, yes, you can. The sortable widget will do that. And then splitter. If you want to do a multi-window kind of a UI, you can do that. We have the tab strip, a toolbar, tooltip window, everything. Coming to the mobile widgets, as you can see here, the whole of mobile framework is available as open source, and also the mobile widgets. These are the widgets that are available, and using this, you can build a hybrid mobile application. How do you get, so next question would be, how do I get hold of Kendo UI Core? Well, pretty simple. The first one is a little bit tedious. I mean, those of you who are open source geeks and you are always on the command line, you will be very happy to know this. We are available on Kendo GitHub. So the whole of Kendo UI Core source repository is available on GitHub at this particular location, github.com/stellaric/kendo-ui-core. All you need to do is clone it, and then of course let me show you the instruction that you need to follow. Okay, let me go back. Let me get a GitHub. So if you go to github.com and say Telerik and say kendo-ui-core. So we are getting into the source code repository. So this is the complete Kendo UI Core source. And then only thing that you would need to do is, here is the features of Kendo UI Core. You will need to build the Kendo UI Core. So you will need a node, and then Git needs to be installed for cloning, and you need to be having a node on your system, and then you can do this git clone and then npm, and then say grunt. You need grunt. We use grunt, the JavaScript building feature. Grunt is another thing that you would have to install. So if you see here npm install -g grunt, the command line instruction. And then using grunt, you can just say build, and it will go and then build the Kendo UI and then put it into the distribution folder, and then you can use it. So I'll show you what are the things that are coming in the Kendo UI Core. Another interesting thing is, if you guys are on Microsoft platform, if you're working with Visual Studio, what you can do is Kendo UI Core is available as a NuGet package. So just go to the NuGet package manager and then call Kendo. Go and then say search for Kendo UI Core. You'll be able to get that. Oh well, I don't want to do all these things. I just want a source readily available for me. Well, you can go to this particular folder. Sorry, the URL which says telerik.com/download/ Kendo-UI-core. So this, what it does is it gives you a zip file which contains the ready-made source built up. So you will get the what did I do? I missed the www. So we'll give you a zip file which contains a complete the JavaScript, style sheet, whatever you need built up. So these are the ways in which you can do it. Well, other way is, okay, I don't want to download, I don't want to do anything. Is there a CDN? Yes, we do support CDN. So what you see on the screen is the CDN links. For example, kendo.common.min.css is the base minimum. But you need to have this particular CSS file. That's the common file. And then kendo.default is nothing but a theme. We have around 7 to 10 themes available. So kendo.default is a default theme. So if you want Metro, you should say kendo.metro.min.css. And then of course we rely on only jQuery. So we have hosted the version of the jQuery that we depend on. At this point of time it's 1.9.1, but not a problem. Even if you have jQuery 2, we'll work with that. Only dependency is jQuery. And then of course kendo.ui.core.min.js. So that's the only file that you need. As I said, no overhead. The only file that is what you need. So now I'm going to start getting into the action mode now. So we're going to look at web framework demo. Remember I talked about a couple of web frameworks like data source. I'm going to, in the interest of the time, I'm going to show a very brief things, but you will understand the power of that. So what I have done is I have created, I'm using Visual Studio 2013, but don't think that this is possible only in Visual Studio. You can do in any editor that you want. You can do this in any languages that you are developing, JSP, PHP, I don't know what else, Ruby, whatever you want to do, because Kendo UI is all about client side. It's all about JavaScript. It's all about HTML. That's all you need on your page. So what I am doing is, I'm a guy who has been in with the, day in and day out. I do Microsoft technology. So I'm using an editor called as Visual Studio, and then I have created something known as ASP.NET Web Application. That's all I've done. Uh, and then in order to include Kendo UI Core, what I've done is in the Visual Studio, in the Microsoft world, we have something called as NuGet packages. So I go to my NuGet package manager, which is available at nuget.org, and I have just searched for Kendo UI Core. Okay, so if you see here, the Kendo UI Core NuGet package is available. All I have said is, hey, I want you to install this package into my web application. That's all I've done. So what does this do is, it goes and then puts this folder called Kendo. So let me show my. So if you see here in the content folder, that's created a Kendo folder, and it has created the version. So currently we are at 2014.2, Q2 is what we say. And then of course in the demo, this is a portion of the demo where we say don't do this, but for the demo perspective, what I've done is I have kept every theme that I support, as part of the Kendo UI, but you don't have to do that. All you need to do is include kendo.common.min.css and then include any of the themes that you need. For example, bootstrap.min, blueopal.min, black.min. You just have to include these two, the style sheets. And one other thing it does is it goes ahead and creates a scripts folder. And in the scripts folder, it has created, sorry about that, it has created Kendo, again 2014.2, and then it has put all the, Kendo is available as an AMD too. If you want to use a very specific JavaScript, you can do it, but in the interest of the demo, what I'm doing is I'm using this one single file known as kendo.ui.core.min.js. This contains everything that I need for my UI framework, the widgets, everything comes as part of this. So if you're asking, if you may have a question like, oh, I'm on JSP, how do I do it? Well, nothing. You can, I told you how to get Kendo UI, either through the GitHub or either through the download as a, download the source. All you need to do is get this particular folders from your download and then use it in your projects, right? If you are going the CDN way, what you will need to do is, okay, here is my page, layout page, where I have included reference to Kendo, style sheet. So let me increase my. So if you see here, I've added links to my Kendo common.min.cs and then bootstrap.min.cs. So I can change it at any point of time. And then I have also included something called as kendo.ui.core.min.js. That's all you need to do. So you need to make sure that you reference these files, and then you have Kendo in your project now. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I already created a page. So let's take a look at the Kendo UI data source, because I'm excited about data source, the capability that it has. So what I'm going to do is I have a page called data source. Let me increase this to 150%, and I will have my. So if you see here, all I have done in this page is basically I have just an empty div. Div ID is equal to products, and then of course I have set up my script, on ready. I want to call this ready function, and of course this is like, my layout contains all my JavaScript references. So here I don't have to do any reference it again, because this is the body of the view that I have. So what I want to do is I want to connect to a service. The service is available at this particular URL, demos.telric.com/kendo-ui service/products. And I'm going to go and then get this data as a JSON, because the service that we have is capable of sending the data as a JSON. It understands JSON payload. So first thing that I'm going to do is come back here and then say create a data source where data, or I'll say products is equal to new kendo.data.data source. Okay. Now, having said this, what is it doing? Nothing. It just got initialized, but I need to tell where to go and then fetch the data. So for that, we have something called as transport object. So I'm going to say transport, and transport object has this another instruction saying like, hey, where should you read the data from? So while reading, I can say, hey, I want you to read from this service URL, and the data type that you should get back is JSON-P. Right, because I'm doing a cross domain. I'm in a localhost and I'm going to demos.telerik.com. So without JSON-P, I will not be able to extract it. So now what I'm going to do is, this is fine. I just defined my product, but how do I get the data? Well, simple. All you need to do is products.read. Okay. So now let me run this. Of course, you won't see anything now, because on the UI there is nothing, but everything is happening by the data source. So let me see what happened. So if I see my network calls, okay, it does not, let me record my network calls, and let me do an F5, and let me undock this, because let me show you this. So this is IE. So here you go. The data source that we have set up was, we said go to demos.telerik.com, Kendo UI service products, and get the data from there. So it's a HTTP 200 now, meaning it has executed, when I gave the read call, it has executed this particular URL. That is, if you see here, it went through the JSON-P way. It has done the callback. And request headers are these. Request body is nothing. Response header is HTTP 200 OK. The content type that's coming back is an application X JavaScript. If you see the response body, I have the JSON padded up in this one. So that's good. We made a progress. Just imagine what you would have done with a jQuery. You would say $.ajax, then the URL, then the success, blah blah blah. So I like it this way, because I'm instructing somebody to what to do, and that instruction is, hey, I want you to go to this particular URL. Here is the URL. I want you to read it like this. Okay. So now here's the thing. So since it's a product, I want to display that product. So what I'm going to do is, I already have this ID called products, and so in order to display, I would need a product template. So I will create a product template. So this is nothing but a templating that, of course, the Kendo UI has its own templating. So that's what I'm going to use. So I'm just said x-kendo template, and then div class product, image src, I'm just binding it. And here is the templating language of Kendo. It's just hash equal to, and then the property name that you get from the object. And I use the product name and then product ID. I'm going to be getting those things. H3, so product name, and then again there's a Kendo.toString unit price to commercial currency. That's it. So how do we get hold of this? Basically, the data source has a mechanism of something called as change. So here what I can do is, I can pretty much make use of the data. Before that, I would need to create a Kendo template variable. So if you see here, Kendo has this templating. So all I'm saying is, hey, you know what? I want to create a Kendo template object using this HTML blueprint. So this is my HTML blueprint, right? So I've created this. So now what I'm going to do is, I will say render my template, right? But using this particular data. So I'm going to get around 94 products from the Northwind. This is going to the Northwind and getting that. So I said grab this products div, and its HTML should be Kendo render template using this data. So now all I need to do is save it, run it again, and we should see the products coming back. Let's give it a second. There you go. Okay, let me refresh again. Boom, it came. So this is looking good. So basically, of course, I've done some amount of CSS styling, just to make sure it looks neat. Don't worry about the CSS. You can pretty much get the CSS from our demos. So so the biggest point here is it was able to go get the data, convert that into the, I mean, and I created a Kendo template, gave the data to the template and said, hey, use this template over this array of data and then just give me the UI. So that's what it did. It went and then did that. So now we also have something called as, I can actually kind of listen to the request start, and pretty much I can have a function here, and I want to show a progress bar. It doesn't look nice now, right? Uh, okay, spelling mistake. Okay, so what I can do here is I can say kendo.ui.progress. It needs a UI element, so I can say I want you to show the the progress on products div. Show the progress bar, yes. Oh, I missed a brace here. And I can also listen to request end. And I can say, no, I don't want you to show this. And put a comma here. So now what will happen is, see what happens when I refresh. Oh, expected, where, oh, okay, I know where it is. This is the mistake of copy and paste. So now you see a progress bar coming up. So okay, it's very brief movement. I'm not sure if you're able to see that. Yeah, the GoToMeeting, it's not kind of making the justice there, but yeah, I put a progress bar. The progress bar is coming. So that's about the Kendo data source. And then now let's talk about MVVM. This is one of the things that I want to show. I mean, basically, I leave it to you. The data source can do many advanced things like CRUD, read, update, delete. I just showed you read. So create, update, and delete can be done easily with this. There is a question. Recently, Kendo team integrated AngularJS framework in Kendo UI Core. Is there any dependency to create AngularJS apps, or just include Kendo UI Core, min and jQuery.js? Well, Vinay, in order to work with AngularJS mode of development, you will need to include jQuery, then include Angular, then include Kendo UI Core.min. That's the procedure that you would put up in order to work with Angular bindings. So now currently the Angular bindings are all out of the box with Kendo UI Core, so you don't have to depend on any other Kendo-Angular.js. So that's what we had previously. It was a labs project. Open source community had done that. In fact, one of our evangelists had done a lot of things over there. So now what we did was we have put that into the Kendo UI Core out of the box itself. So Angular support is out of the box, but you'll need to include Angular.js before Kendo UI. So now what you're going to do is we're going to go and then look at MVVM things. So what I'm going to do with MVVM is show you how you can work with MVVM. So here's a markup that I've done. So let me run that, and then again we're going to connect to the same service. Okay, it's going to be going to the same service. So let me run this. So it's a simple. First, I want to show all the products that are there in my system in a drop-down. So this is the drop-down that we will fill up the products from the server. And then once one product is selected, and I don't want this details to be shown upfront. Only when a product is selected, I want these details to come up, and the ID should be the ID of the product. The name should be the name of the product. Unit price should be the unit price of the product. And then of course I want to show an image also. So we'll see how to do that. So in order to do an MVVM way of things, what you will need to do is you will say var view model is equal to kendo.observable, and this is how you create a view model in Kendo using Kendo. Let me increase my font size. I'm not sure if you guys are able to see this. Okay, now here what I'm going to do is I will say products, and remember we just saw the Kendo.data source thingy. So I will say the products is actually a data source with transport and read set to URL service URL, and then I'm going to say data type is of course JSON-P since I'm going cross-domain, and this is my one of the properties on the view model. I've just created that. Then I need a mechanism to hold the selected product, so by default it is null. What else I need? Yeah, and then show form, I mean show details. So I need I want to show details only when um, I want to show details only when a product is selected. Okay, so simple way to do that is return this dot get. So here is another interesting thing here. So you need to use the getters and setters if you want the propagation of changes to be sent out to any consumer of your property. So I'm saying this dot get. So now our Kendo the Kendo mechanism, MEVM mechanism knows that show details is actually depending on this property called selected product. So I'm going to say selected product. This is not equal to null. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. So show details. So now we're going to start doing the data binding. So for this select, what we need to do is first and foremost, we need to say data dash role is drop down list. So this is a another way of instantiating Kendo widgets, and then I can say data option label is equal to select a product. Okay, and then here's the data binding mechanism that we will do. Data bind source is nothing but products. Okay, and then the value, the selected value is selected product. I just did data bind, and then I need to say data text field, meaning what is the field that I should show? It's product name, and data dash value field is product ID. Okay, now this is fine. So is that all done? No, there's one last thing that we need to do. We need to say, like, this is the, so Kendo has a binder, so you just have to say kendo.bind document.body and with this data. So I said view model, right? So now let me start. I'm just running it now. Or are we already on the place? Oh yeah, we're already on the page. So let's see what's happening. There you go. So now that I'm not sure if you're able to see that. Yeah, now you should be able to see that now. The drop down list has gone ahead and then got the data from our server. So this has been done completely through the data binding. So I showed you the data source and then the MVVM way of doing it. So using the MVVM, you just do data binding and then do it. So now we need to handle this guy. If and only when the selected product has been selected, a product has been selected, we need to show this form. So what I will do is, remember this show details. So I will say, I have this div here. I will say data dash bind. We have a binding syntax called as visible, and I can say show details. Okay, so now when I come back here and then do this, you will see that there you go. When the page completely refreshes, you don't see the details window. Now I can come back here, select on a particular product. Now we see the details, because we said if the selected product is empty, don't show it. Now I want to show the ID of the currently selected product. So I can just say data dash bind text, because span has a text property. I will say selected product dot product ID. And similarly for the text box, what I can do is data dash bind. This is bound to value property, because input type text has a value property, and then I want the selected. Okay, let me take it next line. Selected product dot product name, right? Similarly, this input type text, I want to show the currency, but I want this to be converted into a numeric text box. So I will say numeric text box, and I will say data dash bind. Again, this guy has a value property. I will say value. This is selected product dot unit price, and we are all set. Let the page refresh for you guys. I see there's a lag. Yeah, now what I can do is, whenever I click on a particular item, you will see that it's been updated. I can make a change. Of course, I'm not showing an example where we handle the changes, but you can do it. But the idea here is like, okay, this. So let's say I want to show even the image. So what should we do, right? One of the easiest ways that we can do is add an li here and put a label and say pic, and I can bring in image data bind. We have an attribute binding syntax, so I can say src is equal to product image. Okay, so now there's no product image yet that I have done, but I'm going to go and then do it now. So what I can do is on my view model, I can come back here and then put a new property called as product image. And where is the image? Let me get the data source. So the image is located here. So I can say return, and I can construct the URL here. So what I need, I need a product ID. So I can say where PID is equal to this dot get selected product dot ID. Sorry, product ID. Okay, now since I said this dot ID, now product image is one of the candidates that needs to be told if there is any changes to selected product. So that's how these things work. So you need to use this dot get, then there is an entry says, hey, this guy is depending on this particular variable. So now I can come back here and say PID. So I'm just constructing a URL, for the image. Now I can use this product image in the binding here for the image data bind attribute src is equal to product image. So now let's come back here, refresh the page. Seems like I have product ID of undefined or not. Oh yeah, I know. When the first time, okay, I rehearsed it 5 times, but I made the same mistake. So the thing is, in the product image, when I say this dot get selected product, it's basically for the first time will be null. So all I need to do is let me do this way, var prod selected prod is equal to this dot this, and I can say if this not equal to null, then return, otherwise don't worry because we won't show the product. So PID is selected product dot ID. Okay, let me refresh it again. Okay, now let's do what happens. So let me select chai. There you go. Now I can see the image coming up. I just formatted the product image variable. So now I can see ID, name, unit price, everything. I can do this. I can go anything and then see. There you go. So this is how we provide you everything within Kendo UI. And now next one that we're going to look at is templates. So let me open up templating. So templates is a fairly simple concept. So here what we'll do first is I'll show you a bare minimum template. So I have a div. I have the div, and then in the script what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an inline template. So if you see here, the inline template is nothing but I just gave a string, and in the string I'm saying hash equal to first name, hash equal to last name, and then a hash. So the hash equal to hash is the syntax for templating, in which you want to output a property from the data item, right? The way the templating works is this is a blueprint, but at runtime it's going to get a data, and then from the data item it has to get the value of first name, get the value of last name, and then render it here. So that's the template. I've created a template, and then I'm going to give it a data. So data is simple JSON object, first name John, last name Doe, and then here is the div, inline template div, and then the HTML of that is just called template, and then pass the data. It will templatize that string that you gave, and then it will be output. So now I will go ahead and then run this. There you go, hello John Doe. So if you remember, when we started out in the div, it's an empty div. But at runtime, what we did was we gave the data, and then here's the blueprint for the template, and then we said go render that. So now we are able to see hello John Doe. So this is one way. This is the simplest way of doing things. So the second way is, we can use a script template, meaning it's a little bit of complex. I cannot put it in one string like we did previously. So what we can do is we can create a script template and then use it like this. So here, if you see here, the same inline template, what I've done is I've created a script, gave it an ID x-kendo-template, and I said hello hash first name hash last name. And if you look at the code, it's pretty similar. Instead of giving it the string, you're taking the HTML out of the script template using jQuery, and then you create a Kendo template and provide the same data, and then say script template HTML script template of data, and you will pretty much see the same stuff now. So first you'll see hello John Doe, that's the inline template. Second, you will see again a hello John Doe, which is done through the script template. There you go. So this is what you see here now. So next what we can do is encoding. So I'll show you how encoding works. Oh, not there, here. So I have a div. I want to do an encoding example now, meaning if you have an HTML, you want to encode it. So basically what we can do is we have this syntax called hash colon instead of hash equal to. Remember this inline template where we said hash equal. So this is like those of you who are coming from the request response world. Response.write is this hash equal to response.server. Encode is the hash colon. It will encode whatever HTML that you have, so that it doesn't render like an HTML tag on this one. Rather, it renders the tags as is. So I've said hash colon, and look at the data that I'm passing. I'm saying strong, lorem ipsum strong, right? So I want this to become as is. I don't want this to look strong. Rather, I want the full HTML tag to be displayed on the screen. So, so you will need to use hash colon. So that's what we have done, hash colon HTML. So now when I go and then run this, you will see the encoded string coming as is. There you go, the string has been encoded. If you see here, it has come as strong and like this. So now if I go and then change hash colon to hash equal to and then refresh the page again, you will see that I get the lorem ipsum strong. So that's the difference between hash colon and then the hash equal. That's basically encode or just output the string as is, the HTML string, or you should encode the string and then do it. Now another interesting piece is it's just not outputting these strings. You can do a little bit of JavaScript inside your templates. If you want to do a couple of things within your template. So what you can do is take a look at this template. So I have the empty div here. I said JavaScript dash template, and then here is my template. So look at this JavaScript that I can do. So the data is what you pass at the runtime. So let me pass the data for this. So typical, I say get me that ID, script ID, and then get the HTML out of that and create a Kendo template. And then here is the data. The data I'm passing is an array, right? So now I can say data.length and then get the data out of it's an array. So array of an index will give me a value. So I'm doing, here's the UL, do for loop from 0 till the length of the data, output li with hash equal, and here is the data. So you can see the mix matching going on here. You will do hash equal when you want to do a write. You will do hash when you want to write a JavaScript statement. Okay, so it's pretty flexible. Only thing you need to take care is all these things like hash and then end with an hash. It's pretty similar to Razor. If you have done a Razor, you'll pretty much understand what I'm trying to say here. Razor syntax, but otherwise it's simple to understand. Hash and then end it with an hash. So now let's try to run this and see what happens. and there you go. I have the UL created, UL li created. So if I look at inspect element, it's pretty much, you will see like, UL li. So that's what you would see there. That's about the core framework. So let me quickly, we're already at the 1 hour mark. So let me quickly do a couple of maybe a, show how widgets can be created. So let me go to my controllers and then add a new controller. I will call it as widgets. And what I will do is I'll create templates and then rename this to widgets. And let me remove all these guys. And I'll keep the script. I need the script. Okay, now let's create a simplest of the widget. So what I want to do is on my screen, I want a calendar coming up. So I will say ID is equal to kcal. And I'm more used to like this. I will say on ready. I don't like inline functions being written. So I will say function on ready. And I will say get me the kcal object and then convert this into Kendo calendar. That is all you need to create a Kendo control on your page. Entity framework? What happened? Oh, I didn't build. Okay. No, I built it. Home controller. Let me do a build. And home slash widgets. There you go. Let me get this user. So that's all it is. That is as easy as it can get to create a widget. And then I don't think I will have time to go over Kendo UI Mobile. We have already done a couple of webinars on Kendo UI Mobile. You are free to go and then look at that. It's in telerichelper.net and then section called webinars. Let me spend some more time on, I have 1 more minute for 4 p.m. So let me do a couple of things. So now this is fine, but if you notice, it doesn't show the current date, right? July. So it is showing July 31st here, but shouldn't it highlight it in this one? So that is because we haven't told it to do that. So I can come back here and then say value is equal to new data and come back here, refresh it. There you go. Now 31st is selected. So that's how easy it is, how easy it can get with Kendo UI. Not only that, I can go to my layout and let me change from Bootstrap to, let's say, Metro. I like Metro. It's simple. There you go. Now the complete styling got changed for the widget, right? Let's put some more widgets here. Where's my widgets? Okay, so I will go and then I'll put a input type is equal to text, and I will call this as k date time picker. And now what I will do is I'll come back here and then I'll say, hey, get this guy and then convert this into Kendo date time picker. And here is, okay, let me put a break here, I think. Okay, so here you can see a neat somebody's asking, you need to get code of whatever I'm doing. Well, I'm doing nothing but whatever you have it here. So just go to demos.telerik.com and then Kendo-UI. Okay, the whole of Kendo is available online as demo. There you go. So we have the whole of Kendo. So you can pretty much take a look at, I showed you the calendar. So you can go to, where's calendar? Here, scheduling. So you can go to the calendar demo. There you go. This is what exactly I showcased just as a bare bone thing. Now, if you see here, click on this or click on this, we give you this click on this. It's by default selected as 31. What else I can show? Any other? Let me see. Let me quickly do something. Yeah, numeric text box, we saw that time picker. So basically, now you know the thing. So if you go to demos.telerik.com, Kendo UI, you will be able to see that. So this is how the widgets can be played around. This is as easy as you can get. So let's say you want to get hold of the object at runtime. So all you need to do is, let me come back here and then try to show you. I'm just trying to resize this guy. So we know that on the page we have this guy. Oh, where is my, okay, here. So we know that on the page we have the K calendar, right? So what I can do is I can always come back here and then say dollar K hash K calendar and the data, and I say Kendo calendar. So this is how you get hold of. Okay, what did I do? Yeah. Okay, cal. Sorry, it's not K calendar. It's K cal. So I can pretty much say kcal the data, and you will see now, like I get the object at runtime, and I can do anything. I can say like kcal that this that value or set. Let's try this. Value is equal to new date of 2014.8.1. Yeah, it is set. Okay, some problem with the thing. So that's pretty much what I had here. So basically you can pretty much go to demos.telerik.com, and then wherever you see we normally have clearly attributed which of the controls are professional. If you see here, it says pro on the left hand side. It says pro. So wherever you see pro, that's available only in the professional package. Otherwise everything else is available as part of autocomplete. This is a typical case of you need an autocomplete. Yeah, there you go. So all the way you create this is feed the data and then say hash countries.kendo autocomplete data source data filter placeholder. That's it, and then this creates the particular the autocomplete thing. So that's all I had for time for today. I may not be able to get to the mobile widgets demo. We are already at 1 hour thing. So those of you who wanted to get in touch with me, this is my official email ID. It's lohith.nagraj nagaraj@telerik.com. So you can write to me at this particular email ID if you want to know more. Now I'm going to stop the recording and then get on to the extended Q&A session. So thank you very much for each one of you who made it to our webinar, and we hope to see you again.